In some places, you can earn $10 in just 7 or 10 minutes, but in others, even 2 days to earn that money where you live. $10 may not be enough to buy a lunch or a few cups of coffee, but in Vietnam, I can use the same money to prepare a meal for a family of 5 for an entire day. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how. I use every penny to take care of my family on a budget of about $10. Hello everyone, my name is Dung. I live with my family in Da Nang, Vietnam. For my family, $10 is enough to prepare meals for a day. I will take you with me from the market, cooking until the end of a normal family day. There are families who have to work all day just to cover the expenses of the day. For some people in rural or mountainous areas, working all day is not enough. Today I have VND, about us 10 to prepare 3 meals for a family of 5. This is not a challenge, it's a After arriving at the market this morning, I decided to stop by a small breakfast stall before starting my grocery shopping. It's a popular spot among local people because the food is always served hot, tastes delicious, and is very affordable. Even though it's just a small stall inside the market, the owner serves a variety of local dishes, including fish cake noodle soup, Bihon Siech Ta, crab noodle soup, Bihon Ryu, pork bone and meat thick noodle soup, BNH Can, Quang noodles, Emu Quang chicken noodles, and Quang noodles with shrimp. Today, I chose a bowl of fish cake noodle soup Bihon Siech Ta, which cost 25,000 VND. Bihon Siech is one of the most popular breakfast dishes in Vietnam, especially in the central region. The broth is made by simmering fish bones, giving it a naturally sweet and light flavor. It's served with soft rice noodles, flavorful fish cakes, and fresh herbs and vegetables. It's a simple, nutritious, and delicious meal that remains affordable for many people. A warm bowl of noodle soup like this is the perfect way to start my morning before continuing my shopping for today's family meals. Now I'm going to the market to buy the missing ingredients. I started at the seafood counter. Today I bought 200 grams of shrimp for 50,000. VND, I chose fresh ones to cook for my children. The price of shrimp changes almost every day. Some days it is cheaper, and some days it is more expensive. So I often adjust the menu according to the price at the market. I don't need to buy a lot, just enough for the whole family to have a good meal and balance with the money I have. After buying seafood, I continued to go to the meat counter to choose more ingredients for today's meals. I bought 200 grams of beef and divided it into 2 portions for 2 different meals. During the day, this way I both saved money and did not buy more than necessary. Today, the price of beef is quite good compared to the previous times. I went to the market. I often track the price every day to decide whether to buy meat, seafood, or replace it with something else. Just be flexible. I can still prepare delicious meals without exceeding my budget. Every time you go to the market, the price changes. There are days when the same amount you can buy more, and there are days when you have to calculate more carefully. At the vegetable counter, I bought a bunch of vegetables for 10,000 VND, but today I only used half, equivalent to 5,000 VND. The rest I will save for next meal. I used to buy vegetables at her counter. She couldn't talk like everyone else, so she mainly communicated with gestures and smiles. Gradually, I got used to the way she signaled when weighing vegetables or charging. I like to buy here not only because the vegetables are always fresh, but also because I want to support you. Every time I visit, I hope my small job will give you a little motivation to continue your work every day. Next, I went to buy some potatoes for lunch. Today, my son said he wanted to eat potatoes, so I decided to add this to the menu. I visited her vegetable counter, which I always buy. Like to support her because she is always friendly and vegetables are always fresh. Every time I go to the market, I try to buy some at her counter. One of the most distinctive scenes in this market is the rows of street stalls stretching along both sides of the walkway. Fresh vegetables and fruits are neatly arranged in baskets, creating a colorful and lively atmosphere in early morning. Inside the market, most of the selling spots are either permanently rented or taken by those who arrive early. As a result, many vendors make use of the sidewalks and walkways to display their goods. Because of this, the pathways in the market are quite narrow, and people often have to squeeze through and give way to one another in order to move around. While walking through the market, I noticed that bananas were being sold for only about 15,000 VND per bunch, which is much cheaper than in supermarkets, so I decided to buy an extra bunch. One thing that surprises many foreigners is that tropical fruits in Vietnam are very affordable. Items like watermelon, lychee, and longan can be many times more expensive in the United States. But in Vietnam, they are sold fresh at very low prices. The sounds of people buying and selling, trucks coming in and out, along with the bustling atmosphere from early morning, create a very characteristic scene of traditional markets in Vietnam. This is also a place where many locals come every day to buy fresh food at reasonable prices. Next, I stopped by to buy a block of tofu to cook with beef and tomato sauce. This is one of the dishes my family eats most often because it is both easy to prepare and doesn't take much cooking time. My children also really like this dish, so I cook it at least once or twice a week. Just adding a few tomatoes and a bit of onion is enough to create a simple but nutritious meal. For my family, meals don't need to be too elaborate. The most important thing is that everyone is full, enjoys the food, and gathers together. I bought 3 more tomatoes for 5,000 VND at the traditional market. The price of vegetables is usually quite cheap, especially when buying in season. With just a few simple ingredients such as beef, beans, and tomatoes, I was able to prepare a meal enough for the whole family. I always try to balance the cost and nutrition so that the children have good meals without spending too much money. Next, I stopped by to buy some cakes. This cake stall sells many kinds of traditional cakes with the distinctive flavors of the Mekong Delta region. Whenever I have a chance to pass by, I always want to buy a few for the whole family to enjoy. Today, I bought 3 cakes for 30,000 VND. Honestly, I'm not sure whether this price is expensive or not, but I feel the flavor is well worth it. The cakes are mildly sweet, fragrant with rich coconut milk, and the filling is chewy and pleasantly bouncy, so they are not at all overwhelming to eat. My children also really like this type of cake, so I sometimes buy them as a snack for the whole family. After buying everything I needed, my shopping trip came to an end. Now I'm heading back home to start preparing a meal for my family. Many people think that food in Vietnam is very cheap. That is only partially true. Compared to wages in many developed countries, food seems cheaper. But compared to the average income of many Vietnamese families, the cost of food is still a significant amount. I'm not trying to show that everyone can live on this budget, because every family has different circumstances and living expenses. I just want to share a normal day in my family's life, so you can get a better understanding of everyday life and the real cost of living in Vietnam. Every day, many families have to carefully plan their grocery shopping. Food prices change with the seasons and sometimes increase quite a bit. So preparing 3 meals for the whole family on a fixed budget isn't always easy. I've arrived home. I still have rice, peanut oil, tubers, lemon, and some spices. So today I just need to cook with the ingredients I just bought. Every month I spend about 6 million VND on food, not to mention other expenses for my children. About every 10 days or 2 weeks, I return to my hometown to bring more vegetables and food to Da Nang to save money. My family's income is quite limited. My husband works very hard every day to take care of the whole family and often comes home quite late. When he has time, he also helps me take care of my children and take them to school. As a mother, I always have to think very carefully before spending. Every small savings makes sense. Potatoes are one of the dishes that all 3 of my children love. When they ask what they want to eat today, they often mention potatoes first. Maybe not only my children, but many children also love this dish. There are many potato-based snacks out there, such as potato chips, fried sausages, or street food. I understand why children love them, because they taste very attractive. It is okay to eat once in a while, but if I eat often, I still feel not really assured. So, whenever I have time to go to the market, I often buy fresh potatoes to cook for the whole family. Today, I choose stir-fried potatoes with beef. The way to cook is simple, not fussy, but still enough and suitable for family meals. I dare not say that my food is better than outside the store. In fact, the taste will definitely be different. The restaurant often uses more spices, so the dish will be richer and more attractive. But what assured me was that I knew where I bought the ingredients, how I chose the potatoes, whether the beef was fresh or not, and the cooking oil I used was the same kind I used every day for my family. That is also why I prefer to cook my own food rather than buying it. I can actively choose the ingredients I trust. When preparing, I also try to season it to taste moderate, not too salty and not too much grease for my children to eat every day. I do not want to judge or compare with the roadside eateries because each place has a different way of doing business and conditions. However, with very cheap dishes, I cannot know exactly where the ingredients are imported from or how they are stored. Therefore, if I have time, I still prioritize cooking at home. In fact, cooking at home is sometimes not much cheaper if you choose fresh ingredients. But in return, I feel more secure. I can personally choose each potato, each piece of meat, and prepare it for my family. What I am most happy about is not the beautiful or fussy food, but watching my children eat delicious food as long as they eat all the rice. Ask for a few more potatoes and say, "I cooked so well, I am happy enough." Today, in addition to stir-fried beef, potatoes, I also cooked a bowl of vegetable soup cooked with shrimp. The 2 dishes combined are both simple and nutritious for the whole family. It is not a luxurious meal. There are no expensive ingredients, but it is a meal prepared with all the care of a mother. I always think that family meals do not have to be perfect, as long as everyone sits together, eats dishes cooked from ingredients I trust and feel delicious. It is a very precious meal. As for you, if you have small children, how do you usually choose to cook potatoes? Please share in the comments for me and everyone to refer to it. In addition to beef stir-fried potatoes, today I also cooked a pot of vegetable shrimp soup. This is a soup that appears quite often in my family's meals because it is easy to cook and cool. Vegetables are very familiar vegetables in Vietnam. Almost every market is sold and the price is quite affordable. Just a small bunch of vegetables is enough to cook for the whole family a pot of soup. I like to choose bunches of young vegetables, natural green leaves and not crushed. When I get home, I pick up the old leaves, wash them thoroughly, and cook them. These stages take a few minutes, but I think it is worth the meal to be clean and assured. Today, I cooked vegetables with fresh shrimp. The sweetness from the shrimp mixed with the taste of vegetables makes the soup very easy to eat. On hot days like in Da Nang, a bowl of vegetable soup helps the rice become much softer. My children do not always like to eat vegetables, but when they cook with shrimp, they eat better. I do not force them to eat a lot. As long as they eat a little more vegetables and drink a bowl of soup, I am happy. I think it is very important to make a habit of eating vegetables from an early age. They may only eat a little today, but if I patiently change the way I prepare many different dishes, they will gradually get used to the taste of vegetables. The dishes in my family are usually not too picky. I prefer seasonal ingredients, easy to find at the local market and suitable for my pocket. Just know how to combine a savory dish, a soup, and add a few vegetables to have a full and cozy meal. Now I'm going to marinate beef with very familiar spices in my family's kitchen. The first is onion, a very popular spice in central Vietnam. It helps the dish smell better and deodorizes the meat. Next is fish sauce, a characteristic spice in many Vietnamese dishes, which helps the meat to be rich and flavorful. I added a little yellow sugar to balance the flavor and help the dish have a better color when sautéing. Finally, a little salt so that the seasoning seeps evenly into the meat. Then I mix well and let the meat rest for 15 to 20 minutes before processing to make the meat more permeable. This is pure peanut oil squeezed from these peanut seeds grown in my hometown. When cooked with compressed tubers, the dish will have a very typical flavor of central Vietnam. Cooking at home not only helps save, but also helps me feel more secure because I know what my family is eating every day. I will saute the beef first, over a large fire in a short time too. The meat is just ripe and retain the softness. If you stir fry the beef for too long, the meat will easily be chewy and lose its natural sweetness after the meat is just cooked. I will pick up a plate and set it aside. Next, I use that pan immediately to stir fry the potatoes. Potatoes need more time to ripen softly, so I will stir fry first. When the potatoes are almost ripe, I just put the beef on the island quickly for the last time. This method helps the potatoes absorb the taste, and the beef is still soft, not dry or chewy at this point. I will season again to suit the taste of the family. When the potatoes are soft but still retain the texture, I put the stir-fried beef in and lightly stir-fry for 2 minutes so that the ingredients blend together. Finally, I sprinkled some onions and ground pepper to make the dish more fragrant, so the beef stir-fried potato is finished. This is a very simple dish, easy to find ingredients, but always present in my family's menu. When the stir-fry is finished, I also take advantage of cooking a pot of vegetable soup with shrimp. I usually cook 2 dishes at the same time to save time, because the children are hungry by the time they eat. For me, daily meals do not need too many dishes or expensive ingredients. Just having a savory dish, a soup, and the whole family together is enough. This is also the type of meal that many Vietnamese families still maintain: rustic, simple, but always brings a cozy feeling after a day of work and study. I always try to change the menu every day so that the children do not feel bored. There are very simple dishes, but just change the way of processing or combine with another soup. The rice has become more attractive. Peanut oil has a rich, nutty aroma and a high smoke point, making it a popular choice in central Vietnam for stir-frying and frying. When combined with shallot bulbs, seanan, it creates a simple, rustic flavor that is deeply characteristic of family meals in central Vietnam. Just the aroma of peanut oil and shallot bulbs sizzling in the pan feels so familiar to me. It's a scent that brings back childhood memories for many people who grew up in central Vietnam. In the past, when life was more difficult, many families grew their own peanuts and had them pressed into oil to use throughout the year. Even today, despite the wide variety of cooking oils available, many people still choose peanut oil because they love its natural aroma. It's lunchtime. you also start to urge me, because everyone is hungry after a morning of study and play while you are eagerly waiting. I take advantage of the rice plate. Today is just a very simple dish: beef stir-fried potatoes, vegetable shrimp soup, and hot rice for me. The moment we all sit down to eat rice is always the most meaningful time of the day. People have just eaten, just talked about the small things in life. Watching your children eat delicious and ask for some more potatoes that I feel the work from morning until now is absolutely worth it. I also remind my children to get enough of their own food to limit waste. If they are still hungry, they can get more later. I hope they understand that to have a meal. There are many people who spend effort from farming, breeding, to processing and cooking. I also want my children to understand that food doesn't come naturally on the table. Behind every meal is the work of many people. From farmers who plant farmers, people who bring food to the market, to people who prepare and cook. I always tell you to eat with gratitude. Do not criticize the food and try to eat all your portions. If you do not like something one day, you can tell me, but still respect the work of those who made the meal. I hope these little habits will follow you when you grow up, so that you can appreciate food. Appreciate life and always be grateful for the simple things in life. My youngest daughter is still very young. She's quite a picky eater and gets sick often, so I'm not able to send her to preschool yet. Because of that, I can't work full-time at the moment. Whenever she's ill, she needs a lot of care. Sometimes my husband even has to take time off work to help look after her. My 2 older children are currently on summer vacation, so they're home during the day as well. Most of my time is spent taking care of my children. Life is quite busy, but my family will always be my top priority. My youngest child is still quite picky eater, so I often add more to her meals. If she eats completely, she will eat very little. I hope when she gets older, she will gradually eat better and be more independent at every meal. Nowadays, many families have their own difficulties. I always hope to be able to contribute a small part to the family economy and not have to depend entirely on my husband. That is also why I started making these videos, sharing my daily life and hoping to have a chance to develop my work. After the children have finished eating and everything is tidied up, I will take a short break to regain energy for work in the afternoon. It was a very ordinary day in my life. There is nothing too special, but every day brings something worth appreciating. I believe that no achievement comes easily, as long as I persevere forward step by step. I hope today's efforts will bring better things to my family in the future. Thank you all for taking the time to accompany me. See you in the next videos.